Hope your battery doesn't die.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we on?
Yes, we are.
We on. Okay. Let's get it on.
You can see Julio. Julio now Kanga.
Oh, Julio's around.
Julio.
Julio's around.
Yes, he's around. So now we are on.
All right.
Yes. Good evening, everyone who's on the other side. I am David Fernando Dapher, and this is Dialungana
Yeah.
Ambrósio.
Hi, what's up?
Okay, so this is one more edition of Answer My Questions with me, Dapher, David Fernando. My guest for today's edition is an English teacher, a teacher trainer, a translator, an interpreter, and also an activist.
Yeah.
Are you a Facebook activist or a frontline activist?
No, actually,
Or both?
when a lot of people think about activism, they think like it is a place where people usually respond to subpoenas and stuff like that. But no, I am a frontline activist.
Yes.
And what I really feel that is directing me to that place, to being a person that defends
Yes.
rights and makes sure that anyone governing us might really assure the idea that our rights are respected.
Okay.
And I'm frontline one. I go to Facebook. I do the lives on Facebook, but
Yeah.
mostly I go on frontline when we have some demonstrations, and when we want to state something for people to understand what is it that we really want, the country to lead up to. So we go to the front line.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm happy to know that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm one of those that who are always afraid of
No.
of going to one of those demonstrations.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, I met a boy. He's from Cabinda. He said that I am one of those people from Cabinda who are willing to see Cabinda free from Rwanda, free from Angola.
Okay.
And I asked him, "Are you ready to die?" He said, "I like to see Cabinda free, but I'm not ready to die."
All right. If you happen to ask me a question like, would I be okay if Cabinda got departed or got separated from Angola from the rest of
Yes.
from the rest of the country, I can assure you that I wouldn't like that to happen.
Okay.
For a reason. So we are one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I don't agree with the injustices with the injustice that happened around Cabinda. Cabinda's been, almost feeding, the majority of our country. Let's say, great deal of this part we call Angola is being sustained by Cabinda resources and let's say the oil that is coming out of Cabinda. But essentially, I wouldn't say let's separate. Let's make a kind of Angola exit, if I gotta say that. All right, like it's up like trying to imitate the Brexit and stuff like that. I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that because it would weaken us. All right.
Would it weaken us in terms of economy?
The economy, the culture, because we have a very important and we have a great deal of things happening down in the cultural side, which we are bound to protecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that by protecting it, we have to see everybody from Cabinda leave the situation they live, right? We have exploitation of oil, and all of a sudden they do not have the benefits, coming out of the oil, exploitation and the selling and the gas. So I think that it would be really appropriate if the government created some kind of autonomy, policy, which was going to be directed into the fact of protecting Cabinda and its people, its culture, its let's say musical memory and all this, but not taking it apart, not separating it, not having these so-called independence they talk about. I don't agree with this.
Yeah.
All right, I don't agree with this. And let me stress something very clearly here. I support them. I support the fight. I support the idea that they really need to fight for them to have the benefits out of what is exploited in their ground.
Yes.
But I wouldn't defend the Cabinda exit. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay. How can I differentiate Roger from Dialungana? Who is Roger?
Yeah. Let's say Dialungana is somebody that is very bound to the academy.
Okay.
Although I have to confess something very significant that I always say to people, I'm a multi-potentialite individual. Like I study almost everything, and let's say my name is known through the academy, through the fact that I like Dialungana, languages, social science, social entrepreneurship, principally social entrepreneurship, and the most important of all, which is deeply associated with Dialungana, is philosophy. I'm that one person that believes I have a theory, which is Dialunganism. And also starting to write on the name of Dialungana, of course. So this is what I attach to myself. Now, Roger's a little kid that started studying English a long time ago. I was 13 or 14 years old. When I started my first path into English learning, and by the time I turned 16, I immediately started teaching English as well. And to this time, I keep on keeping on teaching and doing what I'm doing, chiefly for companies, for the Ministry for Education, and Roger, the neighborhood, the teacher that I taught a lot of people through the neighborhood throughout all this time, all these 22 years. Yeah, basically this is what I associated myself. Yeah.
Do you still remember how difficult it was, your process, learning while you were learning English? How difficult was it?
Wow, I have a different story about English because I just didn't bump into English. I started because my father had always been very strict about studying. He always knew what to do with us. Like, he always knew that you have to learn languages, you have to learn karate, you have to learn how to read, and you have to read a lot. And I was lucky because my father decided to introduce me to the English world, although he spoke more French than anything else.
Yeah.
So I went to beginner. I remember we're talking about the 90s, and I went in. I started studying. It was my first school was called Developing English School. Okay, but like it was the Kakwaku. Developing English School. Today is Kazenga, but back then it used to be Kakwaku. Now that they, in terms of administration, they decided to change, right? Now it is Kazenga, but the school doesn't exist any longer. Actually, I might be. Let me just open it up. Yeah. Okay, you need to check up on me. Okay, good. You got it.
The picture in terms of quality.
Okay.
Yes. So
have you? Okay.
Yeah. You were saying.
Yeah, and I got into English. Yeah, it is dying. I got into English. Have you found it?
Not yet.
Did you manage to get it?
Not yet.
All right. Yeah. So then I decided to start studying English because of my background. It was always related to the American movies, the music. I liked the music a lot when I was a little kid, and I had Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, Babyface, and Casey JoJo and stuff like this. And I felt like, wow, I'm listening to these songs and wow, I don't understand what they're talking about. I even could take a sheet of paper and write exactly what I heard. You know, what I heard, like they say name, I really wrote it like N-E-I and M, and then I put an I at the end in order for me to recognize the, you know, the sounds and stuff like that. So until I found out that really had to go to school, when I went to, first I went to a man called Adão Katambi, who was my first teacher. And when he saw that I was really very advanced, he decided to take me to his teacher, who's my teacher, my great sensei, Overcott, Emilio Bumba Sasamba, that started coaching me. I don't say he taught me English. He actually started coaching me. All right? Because if you look at my teacher and you hear, you know, the quality of English he speaks, he did it all for me. You know what I'm saying? He worked hard in order for me to achieve the level of English that I have actually achieved. And thanks to him, I really went forward and stuff. Yeah. This is the story of my life as far as learning English is related.
How did you get involved into British? Not British. GA.
GA. You know, my history about GA goes back to when I was, on my freshman years in high school. We had some American missionaries down at my school, my high school. And I happened to have one friend, Wayne, who had, let's say, a couple of nieces and aunties, I remember, who happened to be American. And I decided to be studying the sounds.
You can share it.
Yeah. I decided to be, are you sharing?
No, you can share it.
Yeah. I decided to be studying the sounds of the American English. I found out that the American English was very easy to learn because the majority of influentials we have in English world, like either music or by the movies, the series, even the podcasts today, are more associated to the American reality or to the GA, other than the British English. So I went on, and you know, I'm really passionate about the American English, and this is what led me to learning it, produce it, and I'm still on it in the process of learning. Yeah.
Francisco Nzasi, do you know him?
Francisco Seke.
Long back no see. Where have you been? Francisco Nzasi.
Whoa.
How did you deal?
All right. I see Francisco, my friend. Yeah, it's my friend.
Yeah. How difficult was it? Not difficult. How did you deal with phonetics and phonology? That is, and also linguistics.
Look, it was really hard because there's some kind of bias people have created around people that learn the American English and produce the American English. I even heard teachers say, look at the way he talks. Like people talking like that, usually they don't make it, you know, till the end and stuff like this. But I've always been a calm individual. I learned from the very early stages that English is a language, and everyone else in the world has their yardstick. Because you have the Brazilian learning English and with the very strong tendency to kind of be with the Americans and learn the American phonology, because phonetics is generic, right? Phonetics is the study of any language, sound of any language, you know, it's phonetics. Phonology is directed, right? So you have the phonology of English, Portuguese, and stuff, you know. But phonetics is broad, you know, it's way broad than phonology. So I dealt with it like calmly, smoothly, because I knew from the very early stages that you choose and you be consistent on what you do. And I chose. I kind of became very consistent on what I did. Although I have to say this, and this is normal. Generally, when you learn English in the context where we have learned you basically have globish coming on.
Yeah.
You know, because now you speak global English. You're going to take words from the American, from the British English, and try to mix it on up, and and you produce like that. But I've always tried to be consistent. Try to show people that it's only language ability, right? And I've been criticized a lot because of this, obviously. But ultimately, people understood that it was not a matter of trying to do what down at university people used to tell us. You remember when they said, like, when the teacher said, talked about the concept of linguistic imperialism. It all came down to this. But I developed English along with my mother tongue, Kikongo, and I had Lingala, French, learning, and even Kimbundu and Umbundu. I still do this. I still make them develop at the same time, so that we can avoid the bias people create around it. Yeah.
Good. And then you met people who love American English.
Yeah.
Where did you meet Roberto?
Oh man, let me tell you something. Roberto is one of the best teachers I've ever met in my entire life.
Okay.
Roberto is a very, very nice individual. I met him. It was one day we went to it was a show giving and then a certificate granting. Roberto was around, and I went there. I got invited by Francisco, by the way. Francisco's around. Yeah.
So Francisco.
Yeah, Francisco Zaji. Yeah, he knows Roberto very well. I got invited by Francisco. He said, "Hey, come along. We have some certificate grading. We would like you to take the front line, join us, and try to certify some of the students that we have, like advanced student stuff." And I kind of said, "Okay, I'm gonna go." I didn't know Roberto was gonna come around because we were not really friends by then. And when I went in, I saw Roberto. I think I might have been the first person to talk. I encouraged the student and say, "Oh, look, you got to learn. This is good for your work, for your professional, background. And if you learn, if you speak really well, you will have the opportunity to work with very nice people and, boost a little bit more your careers on whatever you got to do." Yeah, and I finished my talk, and then Roberto came along. And when he talked, I was like, wow, man, finally I got somebody that, I've been criticized a lot, but I got somebody right here that can really put the thing in the really right way. And there he was. He talked. At the end of his talk, I got him a call. I went there. I say, "Oh, props to you. Right on. I think you really did a nice job. I like your English and stuff like this." And we connected. It was automatic. We automatically connected, and then we met the second time at university. And I'm like, wow. So we became friends. It was a very solid relationship until today. I talk to him. He talks to me. I love him. He's a very intellectual individual.
Where's he living now?
I want to believe that Roberto is still in Petrongal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's been a very long time that I don't see him. I haven't seen him for so long time. But we actually talk. Well, I mean, we text. Yeah. I text, he texts back, and yeah.
Now, knowing that you are into GA, what variety do you usually teach? GA, or you only teach English?
Wow. Let me tell you something. I told you that I've been teaching for 20 odd years. Mm-hmm. And the majority of students I have produced throughout all this time speak what I speak.
Okay.
They fell in love with it and they wanted to learn it. Some of them came, "Oh, look, we want to learn this. We want to learn what you have. We want your vibe." Because people talk about vibes. We want your vibe. Your vibe is really beautiful and stuff. Yeah, we want to be, they wanted to be Dialunganized, if we may say so. Yeah, and what happened is I know English and I have learned English. Like I said, my teacher, Emilio Bumba Sasamba, is like you. It's very British related. He's got this Cockney pronunciation is great, and I learned everything.
Okay.
Now, when I teach people, I take the liberty of saying, look, you're learning this English. Ultimately, you can choose whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I teach you. You say this way, and in the British English, the pronunciation goes that way. But whatever you do, just be consistent on what you do. Like if you want to speak English, you want to speak GA-based English, you got to be consistent on that because, in the end of the day, people will understand everything you say. Like I am here talking to you, Dapher, and I have this strong belief that there's no problem in our communication.
No.
You can figure out what I'm saying, and I can obviously figure out what you're saying, what you're asking me. We watch the movies, we go to theaters, and we have this feedback. People understand what we say, and we understand what they said. This is what matters most. It's communication. Now, GA is a yardstick. I got it. It's my yardstick. It's what I love doing. It's what I love exercising all the time. And the British English, I teach people. I explain. I even take, because we have course books and CDs and stuff. I play what they want. Yeah, and ultimately they end up producing the kind of English they feel comfortable producing. But generally, they want to go where I am.
Does black speak GA or black English?
I think
when I first heard him,
yeah.
I found out that he speaks black English.
Here comes what people call black English is actually what they call Afro-American vernacular English, which is like a property of a determined group like Afro-Americans.
Ebonics.
Yeah, Ebonics. That is Ebonics. People wanted to, our people, people that descend from Africa, they decided to separate. Okay, they decided to set a differentiation between the white spoken English and the black spoken English because of what went on historically, And what happens is that people confuse Ebonics with GA. People confuse why do I say this? Like, if you see an Afro-American speaking English, or if you see an Afro-American speak English, they speak English that you understand, that is standard English, formal English, and informal English at the same time. Now, in the music, in the communities, people decided to speak a way different kind of English, which is Ebonics. Like you might hear them say, "we is." We was here. I be done now. 6 feet or 2 chain.
I did done when I saw that.
Yeah, and which I understand.
Yeah, I be doing this for ages.
Yeah, I be done and shit. And you have actually it's beautiful because of rap music, principally rap music, and you understand that they're really very smart because they wanted to stand out in a great crowd that made them suffer a lot of racism and a lot of things. So they decided to hold on to something that was theirs. Yeah. They got English, they changed it, and they decided to use English, that way. So going straight away to your answer, Black MC, when I teach my students, I teach everything. Because I believe you have a process at the level of social linguists or social linguistics where you do not necessarily speak one level of language all the way. All right? Because I assume that I have friends. When I am with my friends, I'm not going to be by the book, Mr. Grammar and stuff like this. I'm going to have to use the language, according to the setting where I am. And we have learned it, right? For sure. Yeah. Now, what happens? What happens?
What's going on outside?
I think it might be a robbery. Yeah. It might be a robbery. I don't know. But we don't need to be afraid. We're in. Yeah. So, I was saying that if you have a process we call diglossia, which is you should be able to, at a certain time, to speak a language, okay, in a context, or the same language, because you have the diglossia is twofold. You have it in the same language, and you have it at the level of 2, 3, 4 languages. What you speak more in the community, like, let's say, I speak Kikongo, for example. When I am with my grandmothers, the two of them, I speak in Kikongo. But when I am with a person like Dapher Fernando, I obviously I speak English. Down in my house, it's Portuguese, it's English because of the kids, because I want them to learn the languages that I have learned throughout all this time, and the ones that I'm learning right now, because I'm into Spanish. Yeah. So it's just a question of knowing, it's a question of knowing where you stand. What is the level of language you want to highlight to people? This is what it is. Now, if you come talk about, oh, look, do you teach Ebonics or to students, or do you tell them that it's okay to use that? Man, they can't use that because they watch movies. Yeah. They need to understand what they're dealing with. You remember, at 90s, 80s, we had songs coming from the United States, from the Black community, that the songs were offensive, but we sang them here. Everybody, don't want a shirt. I don't want to say that word because I'm directly on your program, so I'm not going to say the word. But people took those songs and they sang it right in the middle of the street, sometimes in front of parents and stuff. Why? Because they didn't have the notion of that. So why not teach them Ebonics? Why not tell them, no, you can use this way, you can use this that way? Not only because you want them to speak like that, you want them to understand. Because you have productive and receptive and productive skills, right? So maybe what you're teaching is not necessarily for productive skills. You're not expecting them to have productivity on that. You are probably expecting that the schemata is reinforced by the knowledge of, like they know the Ebonics, they know this and that. I'm gonna get you laugh a little bit, Dapher. I was watching this video, and it was a freestyle. People were explaining the strength that Ebonics has in the American society, and I got me a boy that came over and was like, 6 feet the chain, you bet you hit me back like you ran. I'm the hottest thing you saying, meant to just me you saying. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, they do this. It's for fun. They want, it's charming. It's something good for the talk, because you don't only speak because you want to speak. You want to highlight the beauty you have at the level of articulation, the idea connection, the connectivity between, among people and stuff. So technically it's that.
That's good. Now, is Dialungana who is an activist, or who is the activist? Dialungana or Roger?
Dialungana. Dialungana is the activist.
How did you get into activism?
Look, I started the activism a long time ago. Because let me tell you something. People think that being an activist, you need a permit to be an activist. Actually, anybody that defends any social cause is an activist. Okay. So you have to differentiate social activist to political activist. I think
what are you? Social or social?
What I do is more. Let me tell you something, and I will be frank with you. I'm gonna talk about this like blazingly, all right, openly, without any fear of being contested. Yeah. I think I am the two of them. Okay. Yeah. Because what I write, like the articles I like at the level of Facebook, and the lives and my participation in the political life goes beyond the cameras. Okay. Because I don't believe that people always going, in front of the cameras and say whatever they gotta say about the government, and either criticizing the government, criticizing the government form, are the activists. Because activism it's got to change the reality of society. So we have the experience of politicians not being the ones that give you the right to have the right. Like you have the right enshrined in the Constitution, you have to go for it. Because if you have a dictator or a dictatorship system, the politicians under a dictatorship system, they do not really give you a free passage for you to go get your rights and defend your rights freely. They don't do that. Well, I'm not saying that we're totally living in a country that is closed as far as the rule of law is concerned or the democracy is concerned. But I think that we have a long way to go. We have a lot of things to do at the level of our country. And countries are like this. Countries start grow and start getting mature as the citizens are getting enlightened. They moving forward, they learning, they studying, they reading, they getting awareness of who they really are in the society. Because we need to engage people to learning that this is our land, our homeland. And we need to show the politicians, with respect, of course, show the politicians that we know what you're doing. And we know that we give you power for a little while for you to follow up or to do what is in the best interest of our people. Like, I have the right to have a house. I have the right to have education. I have the right to say something about the country because I was born in this country. It's my country. My forefathers were born here. They thought about this, and I had my grandfather who ruled a little bit in, let's say, Makela. Right?
Oh, you're Makela.
Yeah, Mwana Makela. Mwana Makela. Sedia madon multi Makela. Kama kapakala ye Domingos Ambrósio. Like it wouldn't be. You know, it's not only English. We're not only.
We have a Congo.
Yeah, we have a Congo. It's not only English. We have the language. We're not here promoting linguistic imperialism. No. We're just exercising, but we know our roots. We know where we come from. All right. We speak our languages.
We know where we are. We know where we are. Okay. Yes. I remember you talking to some of. I think it was last year before the elections. You were talking to Bamangala.
Yeah.
Listen to me. You have to know who you have to vote.
Yeah.
Why did you have to talk to them in Lingala?
Well, I defend that we are a multicultural society, and we have a lot of influence, principally from the languages that we have, you know, at the level of our borders, and Lingala is one of them.
Oh, wait.
You know,
Dialungana always fought for the right causes. Julio.
Thank you, man. Thank you, my man. Yo,
I said
that's our Angolan Malcolm X, all right?
Yeah.
We got you.
Kanga.
Yeah.
Good to see you on the other side. Guys, you need to subtitle that part of the Congo.
We're gonna do it.
Mr. Candido. I hope we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, Luamba, good to see you there. Good to see Mr. Candido, Julio, Naomi. So good to see you, and some other people are on the other side. You were saying.
Yeah.
Talk to
yeah, you know, because we the social, let's say, the social activism in Angola is it's going up. It's going up a lot, and we honestly need to grow a little bit more.
Okay.
At the level of you know, awareness. What is it that you're doing? We don't belong to political parties. We don't. I don't belong to political party. Yeah, I can support a determined, let's say, a given political party when I read the program.
All right.
Because if you show me what you're gonna do, you know, the next 5 years, and I compare with what the other one is showing me, then I have the duty of, supporting you.
Mhm.
And what I did basically was supporting, and I did it. Everybody knows this is public.
Yeah.
I have supported Mr. Asejota, I did.
Yeah.
And
But you're not from unity, right?
no, but if I were to, because I have, like I told you, I have this political vein,
Yeah.
and if I have to go to a political party, hopefully it will be UNITA.
Okay.
Yeah. Because of what I see, the organization, how they try to experiment the rule of law
Okay.
on their structures. Like, for example, a little while ago, a friend of mine participated to, as a candidate for the presidency of one of the organizations, which is Judah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I saw democracy being exercised, because you cannot only say, look, we have a rule of law, we have democracy, and not show people that you adhere what they're talking about. You have the rules, play by the rules. So I see them playing by the rules, and from the very early stages of my life, I saw the political party growing up with the first leader, the deceased one, with all due respect, Mr. Savimbi, who gave light to this fight we have today. And it's not that we have to discourage the idea that we're brothers and we need the union. We need to try to, speak the same language, because all of us were born here. Political party will always have rivalry all the time. And this rivalry cannot be, on the top of our country.
Yeah.
I think first we need to have Angola at the very top position.
Yeah.
It's the land of our forefathers, and we need to kind of first protect the interests of Angola first. Now, political party are people that have documents, and they ask from time to time, the permit in order to govern, in order to do something on behalf of the entire population. Because not all of us will be governors, not all of us will be presidents, not all of us will, be MPs. We need to direct power from time to time, to certain people, chosen people who come with real, tangible programs, and we ultimately choose whatever it is that is right, and we follow that. So that's what it is.
You might have answered this question, but let me ask it again.
All right.
Oh, I didn't ask it, but you might have asked it. What inspired you to become an activist?
I don't like injustice.
Okay.
I hate injustice. And when I see children eating in the trash, eating trash in trash bins or trash cans, whatever you call it, it moves on my inside wall up. And I'm like, why should children at the age of going to school be eating in trash bins? Why should we have a kind of education which we can make it better? We can fight harder, scream to the top of our voices in order to make the people taking the lead in the country understand that if you don't educate your people, you will weaken everything in your country. You will weaken the army. You will weaken the police. You will weaken the teachers. You will weaken the intellectual. And this is what we have today. You have a weak class of intellectuals who are not, they don't intervene. You look at them, you clearly understand that, they have hidden agendas. The agenda is not only, or cannot only be related to, I have my cash, they paid me, and then, I don't care about the others. Yeah. We have to care about the others. So what took me to social and political activism is the injustice I saw. I saw that we are human beings. Every one of us, the president is a human being, the ministers are human beings, and we can make mistakes. I'm not saying that they make mistakes and the ones that need to be on the cross, nailed up on a cross. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that it needs, there's a need, of existent voices that say, hey, this is wrong. the Constitution says this, this, and that. I got a right to do this, and you violating my rights. You're not supposed to do that. We chose you, or anyway, we chose you for you to defend our interests. I don't know what you're defending. Look, we have kids out of the school system, out of educational system. We have the education, getting to the point that we don't think that is educating. So, hey, you need to, try to solve these problems. Basically, you need to turn back to the starting point and show people that what you've been entrusted to do, you got to be doing it, right? You don't have to just paint, or you don't need to govern us cosmetically. We're tired of tokenism. We don't want tokenism. We want real action.
More action, less talk.
More action, less talk.
Yeah.
We want to show people that this youth, the youth we have today, the youth we have in the country today, is different. Okay? Bottom line, the elders, I'm talking about the people that participated in the independence of this country, what moved them to kind of go and fight colonialism, fight the slavery, is what is moving us today to tell them that, hey, we need another approach.
Someone said Dapher is almost soundless. What do you mean? I'm almost soundless.
It's like I'm talking a lot. Oh God, I got this.
He says Dapher is almost soundless. No, I'm here. I'm here to ask questions, not to comment. No, I can't comment.
Yeah. So basically, that is the idea. The idea is you see injustice and you try to spot what is it that you can help on, And I don't have power. Probably, I don't know. As time drags on, I don't know what's going to go on. But look, we have to look at the future with bright eyes. We have to see that whatever it is moving us today, it's going to be mind-bending if tomorrow we have a country that really gives to its kids, and by kids I'm saying the population, the people, the opportunity of really living in a country that saw them getting born or being born in a way that they do not have the tokenism. You don't need, it's not, I need water in this community. You go there, you go with the television, you open up a couple of taps, they, get a picture, and then you say the whole neighborhood has water.
Yeah.
I think it's irritating, Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. That's good. Now, what are the most pressing issues that you are working on?
Right now, I'm writing a book.
Okay.
Because I believe that we don't have a real reconciliation we were supposed to have. I feel that there's no willing power to make it happen. And we don't need to be dancing the music that the Western world has been playing throughout all this time. We need to understand that we are brothers and sisters. And, at some point we need to reach out a little bit more for our own business. We need to make a true and honest reconciliation. We need to show that every one of us is like, we had a problem between South and North and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know what I did to solve this problem in my family?
No.
My wife is from the South.
Okay.
And you know what else I did?
No.
I started learning Kimbundu. I started learning Umbundu.
Okay.
Because I want to go to Wambo, to Lubango, to Bié, to the South. And I lived in Bengal, of course, by the way. I want to go there and feel the sense of belonging.
Yeah.
I want to show people that I belong here and you are my brothers. I love you the same way I love the other people on the other side. We need to reconcile truthfully, We need to show people that we can do it. We don't have to separate people. I know this philosophy of separating to better govern, still works. I'm reading The Prince, Nicolas Machiavelli now. And I've been reading it.
Reading it?
I've been reading it for let me. This is my. I think this might be my 7th month.
Okay.
Because I read a couple of books at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm reading Achille Mbembe, I'm reading Frantz Fanon, and I'm reading Nicolas Machiavelli, along with Socrates, The Republic. You know.
How many books are you reading now?
Look, it's crazy. I'm a crazy reader. I devour books sometimes. Yeah, I'm reading 4 at this time, and at the same time I'm writing my book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
And by the way, the title of my book is Okubanza Mbanza Angola, you know, which is Okubanza Mbanza Angola.
Thinking Angola.
Thinking Angola. Okay. Look, which is a contribution to the real reconciliation of Angola. I defend that we have 2 types of intellectuals in the country. Those that are vertical, that learn concepts from the science, and they transform the reality of the society. I see a lot of people now in podcasts and TV that are starting to display this.
All right.
You know,
Doing it in English.
Yeah, intellectuality
You're
that.
doing it in English.
Yeah, some of them are doing it in English.
Now you're doing it in English.
I'm doing it in English now. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next one is how do you measure the impact of your work? How do you measure the impact of activism?
Activism. Look,
in Angola.
Everybody around me. Today we have let's say, gigantic change as far as mindset is related.
All right.
You know, it was something I like to say, and I like to believe that the politicians in our political market did not see it coming. You know. So before you know it, you have citizens, young people, elaborating the speech in a way that they're defending their rights. They're defending the rights of their brothers and sisters. They got they got some sort of enlightenment. Although you have some entanglements, you know, some activists that are having entanglements with the system, the system that we have. And they tend to sell this as a service, right? Like, I'm gonna be mad at the government. The government is doing this, is restraining me from getting my rights. So let me go to the demonstrations, and let me talk like this, so that when they hear me, they come and buy me. Okay. So some of them are using it.
Have you ever thought of doing that?
No, let me tell you something. I'm a very straightforward person. And I was bred by very strict parents and religious, religious grandparents. I don't sell my dignity, because my voice, there's a small voice that talks to me and says that, hey, Dialungana, if you have a smidgen of integrity, you know what is it that you're doing? What is it that you're doing? We try to help. I hate the word fighting the system. No. The system, we have an international system. The earth is under a system. And this system has been leading us throughout all this time, to the point where some other system will be set and start all over again. So I don't like to say fight the system. Okay. I like to say fight ideas. All right. We have to fight against ideas that put apart our population, the ideas that separate us. What separates us can't be stronger than the boundaries, or the let's say, the boundaries that we have, or the linking points that we have, which are far more important than just egos and self-interest. Okay. We need to work on the interest which is common. Like there's a book I'm reading, Catching the Window, as well, where I saw some talk by, I believe, I don't know if I'm mistaken, by Kennedy. He says, the fellows of the world, that's not what America can do for you, but what we all together can do for the betterment of the mankind. So what we have to do to see the mankind better is what we need to ask. But first, you don't have to go talk about the world or international matters. You talk about things like multilateralism, affirmative action, and all this before you organize. You tied up your home first. You need to tidy up your home. You need to show people that for a reason, my home is good. As I am talking to you right now, I'm talking not on the grounds that my house is already cleaned, tied up, and now I believe I can take my experience and give it to you, show it to the world. Yeah. You see? So we need to organize Angola. We need to fight for the politicians to understand that we don't want to get into those tokenism, those cliches that they sometimes display, hatred on TV and stuff. We don't want to do that. Yeah. We want to make sure that Angola goes to a direction where every one of us is not called, let's say, it's not called son-in-law, but it's a real son. Because we all deserve this. Sure. We have people that fought for this country, that made sure that this country had to, on the bloodshed we had, today we need to leave out a true meaning of what it is: freedom, love, humbleness, dignity, and honor. Give people what they need to have in order for them to develop.
Okay. How can we differentiate social activism from political activism?
Yeah. If you tackle situations that are related to politics, like, for example, a little while ago, we were talking about the Constitution. We think that, I believe, and everybody in the society believes, every opinion maker, everyone that is that has a strong relation with, let's say, the politics in the country, what goes on politically in the country. We have the belief that there is a need to enshrine in the Constitution, for example, the voting formula, which is originally, that of democracy and rule of law, like presidential election versus legislative one, separated first. All right. And in our Constitution is beautiful, taking apart all these small details that I think we can solve as a people. We can do that. So if you tackle these situations, if you tackle the position of the presidency, the ministers, the governors, if you try to tackle situations that are related to the organization, the institutions, the government institutions, our institutions, you are actually going through a political activism. Now, the social one is that one that will give you, as a result of that one, you will have social entrepreneurship. Because we don't do social entrepreneurship here. Everyone here is claiming that for a reason. We have children in the street. Criminality is recent, really hard. And what do we do about it? Do you ever think of, in the salary you receive, do you ever think of trying to help people out, like kids that live in family or with families that live with less than $1, for example, per capita? Do you try to help those people out? Do you try to pay the least you earn, the minimum wage you have? Do you try to pay a school, which is not more than 10,000 to kids, to help boost those kids' families, or to help those families out by giving them a little part of what you have? We need to start tackling the issue of social entrepreneurship, and social activism has to do with this. Like, you have these communities that are fighting for the rights. Like, you have this class of teachers fighting for better salary, fighting for, like, you have condominium for police officers, but you hardly ever have condominium for teachers, for example. We're tackling with the issue of housing. Housing is very difficult issue that we have here. So if you tackle situations that are related to the social tissue of your country, you try to take them on the table in order for you to have this broad conversation, conversation nationwide. You are tackling with the issue of social activism. Okay, you're showing what is the weak point of an institution, a social institution, and you are coming up with what is it that we have to do in order to solve up the problems coming out of that institution. So you're doing social activism.
Okay. Yeah. Let's look at your book. Mr. Candido would like to know if your book is in Portuguese.
It is in Portuguese, yes. I'm still writing it. It's something that will, it's going to be mind-bending, right, Mr. Candido? It's going to be mind-bending. You know, I believe by the time you grab that and you read it, you're really going to like that. All right? It's going to be mind-bending. Hopefully.
Has the battery died?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. I just want to check some questions because
okay.
I can't do it through
oh my God.
My laptop. Okay, can I see your questions?
Wow.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to get involved in activism?
Love your country. Actually, it's gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Look, you need to love your country first. Everything is moved by the love you have. You have to have this sense of belonging, right? Because a lot of people do not have sense of belonging. You are in a country, yeah, it doesn't bother you. For example, if the education is not going through the right terms, it doesn't bother you if, for example, you have the, let's say the Ministry of Health or the healthcare is that one of craziness, absolute craziness. It doesn't bother you if, for example, you have the poverty very high, the poverty rate very high. It doesn't bother you. So you need to love your country first. You need to feel frustrated when you look at things happening in the country in any area that you think you might change or you have ideas on. If you have those feelings, then you will come to the fight, okay, to social activism or political activism with clear ideas, with your mind, understanding clearly that there's a change here that we gotta take out. Okay, we have to take up some kind of change here, but which way we're going to do that? Which is the way? What way we're gonna follow? Okay, so by the time you find out, you will make yourself a social activist that will tackle that situation. All right, you will want to see that situation solved because politics demands solving problems. Because politics comes from polis, which is city, and politics has to do with organizing the city. So if the person that is entitled to kind of work on making the city a better place is not doing his job, so it is your job to point out solutions, all right? To point out solution for given problems that you see that are tangible in the society, all right? So, and I defend the idea that every one of us is a social or political activist. Because if you happen to claim a cause, or if you happen to complain about anything in the hospital, at school, you complain about a teacher that is not really competent but is out there teaching. You complain about a doctor that is not really competent but is there. You complain about anything. You are a social activist. You got it? You're a social activist. Now, if you want to come along, you have to be frustrated first. You have to spot a situation that you think you need to solve. And you start talking about that. That's how you start.
Okay. Matondo Masak's question.
Oh, my man. My man.
Is it possible to do social activism without affecting political activism in our context?
Well, Matondo, I would say yes and no at the same time. Because, like I said, political activism is done by people that understand, have a clear understanding about politics, what politics is all about. All right? But this is what I call, you have macro political situations and macro and micro political situations that you need to tackle. Now, if for a reason you have a community, let's say, feminists fighting for equality of rights, how can these affect political, the political activism? Of course, as a political activist, I'm going to try and force, or let's say I'm going to try to influence the politicians in order to create laws that defend this particular group. Because politicians defend interests. Whose interest? The people's interest. And if you have feminists, or if you have any other group that is actually fighting for a determined right, or a bunch of rights, or a lot of rights, you will automatically call in the attention of the politicians in order for them to urge or forge a kind of constitution or a document or a decree, whatever you can call it, in order for them to include the claim those people are fighting for. You understand? We are fighting for democracy. We need the freedom, like freedom of press, freedom of speech. So politicians, give us the freedom of speech. We want equality in the freedom of speech. It's not only because you belong to the elite, you can talk about something. And I don't belong to the elite, I cannot talk about it. I'm claiming that I went to school, I studied, I have the knowledge I have. And my claim is that I don't see myself placed in the society. All right? Like, let's say, who are you? Are you a middle-class family? What kind of family are you? Middle-class family? Are you the elite? I need to have this distinction because I don't have to, I can't have gone to school. I might not have gone to school in order to be in this, kind of question like, where do I belong to? Do I belong to a social class that is called a middle-class family, or where? Do we have a middle-class family? This can be a claim of an individual, for example, that is fighting for both social and political activism. Because socially, I have to have my ground. I have to understand where I stand. You know what I'm saying? And politically, I have to, urge the people that take the decisions that are leading the country in order for them to tell me what documents they should be creating in order to safeguard this position I have. Because who am I? I need to know who am I. I need to know who I am. You know what I'm saying? I hope I have answered, accurately the question. Yeah.
Okay. I think there are lots of questions, but I can't see them. That's the problem.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to use your mobile phone.
Yeah. My phone died. My phone just died. Yeah.
You can't do that.
I'm so sorry for
I
that.
have to keep asking you questions.
Okay.
Okay. What time are we supposed to leave?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
You're the boss.
24 to 8.
You're the boss.
It's been an hour.
Okay.
Okay. How do you stay motivated when faced with setbacks or obstacles?
I'm a very calm individual. And principally when dealing with, with my day-to-day life, my everyday life, I tend to control my environment and understand what is it that may agitate me and how can I tackle, the different situations that come over. Usually I I stay calm. I analyze the situations, whatever it is that I am involved into, and I try to find solutions.
Okay.
I try to find solutions. So if I have, let's say, I have friends that don't like me doing the activism, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and when I am with them, they kind of, they say, no, you don't have to do this because you're gonna get killed, because this country for a reason they might do some wrong against you. So I say no. I don't defend the idea that these people out there are the ultimate bad people. I don't. I don't understand our people as being bad people. I understand that the incompetence that we have is due lack of knowledge and also due lack of openness. Because when you open yourself up to talk to people, you kind of understand, you understand what is it that you can do in order for your people to thrive, or what is it that who you can get to your team that can help you solve the different problems. You see, I like to think like that. And when I think like that, I deal with the different situations that come over, calmly. Yeah.
All right. I don't think that the enshrinement of a different voting system or regulation is what everyone wants, as you put it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that most supporters of the party in power seem not to think that way.
Okay.
So I would say most people instead of everyone. So I think you said everyone. So Mr. Candido thinks that you would say instead of everyone, or most people, that should be like, most people instead of, it should be most people instead of everyone.
Well, you know what I like to believe? Groups are like water.
Okay.
If you got a drop of water in the ocean, you always call that ocean.
Mm.
You'll never say, hey, I got a drop of water right here coming out of the river. You will call that ocean.
Yeah.
Only ocean. And when I say the willingness or the will of these people here is to be able to choose their leaders with the maximum clarity possible, right? What I'm saying is individual interests cannot overrun, national interests. What is the national interest? We want to see Angola develop. We want to see Angola, get past many, many other countries in Africa, for example. Let's start by Africa.
Yeah.
That we clearly see that do not have the potentialities that Angola has, but they're ahead of Angola.
Namibia, I think, is one of
Take Namibia, for example. We helped Namibia get the independence. And Namibia is now flourishing, And why is it flourishing? Because Namibia understood that the national interest has to be above personal, individual, groupal interests. Although I have to admit that personal, individual, groupal interest is what makes up, the common interest. But what is it that we want with the country? Because it's country I'm talking about here. Because we have the bad behavior, unfortunately, we have the bad behavior of thinking that if we have group A that is defending a certain idea, that idea should be translated as, the whole country's idea. That's not true. Angola is Angola. What we're tackling, what we're fighting for is that the government understands that. That's why you have the three powers. You have the executive one, the legislative one, and then you have the judicial power, which they work together like cogs. They need to work together like cogs. Complementing each other, right? So if you have those powers, obviously you have a common goal. What is it that you want? You want Angola to be the greatest country as far as education is concerned. Solve that problem. You want to see Angola getting the country where everyone else travels for tourism. Solve the problems Angola has. It's not about me or you or anyone else. It's about the whole country. All right. So this is the reason I gave you this comparison between the drop of water that comes from the rain or that comes from a river or that comes from anywhere compared to the ocean. Are you going to call it ocean plus a drop of water coming from the river? No.
So it should be everyone.
You're just going to call it ocean. That's what it is.
Okay. You've also been working as a translator and also as an
Interpreter, yeah.
Yes. Which one do you like the most? Translating or
Let me tell you something. There's a niche. I like translating a lot.
Okay.
And principally scientific content. Principally scientific content. I like scientific technical content. There's an issue about interpretation. Most people think that interpreting is easy. It's not. Because you have to know what is it that you're going to work on, and if you have like knowledge enough for you to carry out a really very
Fernando.
yeah
Fernando's around.
Oh, okay. I'll call it. All right, I got him.
Your American friend.
Oh, my man.
Fernando.
What's up, man? Oh, wow. My man, what's up? How you doing? You doing good? We're right here with you, man. We're right here.
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
Fernando, good to see you on the other side.
Yeah, you see, Dapher.
The American man.
Interpreting is very hard. And a lot of people fly away from it.
I'm one of them.
Why? Let's say, I remember back in 2011, we had an interpretation going on in the Catholic University. And it was to translate the professor. It's a professor that came from the University of Syracuse in the United States. I remember his name. His name can't escape me. Very funny person. And, a very high-level intellectual in the United States. He deals with African issues, and he came here to talk about economy, like the economy. He's the one who had warned us for the first time. He had warned us about, for example, how the economy was going to be down with the oil price, like being belittled. And he had been translated by somebody I don't remember who. And who was there, and in the interpretation he was carrying out, he was really very unhappy to interpret him. Why? Because it's not only about speaking English.
Yeah.
Hey guys, see, I speak English, I'm great at English, and I'm gonna do a beautiful interpretation. No, that's not true. You need to know what the people talk about. For example, when I went there, I remember was in BP or ASO teaching. I was training my student from BP, and all of a sudden, I got a call from the university. Hey, Dialungana, can you come here, help the university, help ESHED translate somebody? They didn't tell me who. They didn't tell me it was an American and stuff. Probably they got driven by the idea of since he can't understand the American English, probably he will be able to translate that, which was not true, of course. And I went there. When I heard the content, what they were talking about, usually you have to receive a preview, right? Anything that tells you, oh, you'll be talking about this and stuff beforehand. Yeah, you got to get familiarized with the topic first, and then maybe a couple of reading and stuff like that. So I wasn't given that opportunity. It was right away. It wasn't the same day I got called. I had to go there and then, ultimately do the interpretation. When I got there, what they were talking about is something I was really very strong at down in my high school. It was economy. It was economy. They were talking about the schools like Thomas Malthus, Antoine de Mauchretien, and I had full understanding about the economy, about those theories, and it was really very easy to interpret Professor Horace Campbell. When I was there, I was looking at the people when I got there, because I was like sweating and stuff. Because I went there like very in a hush. And look, Dapher, it was very funny because when I got there, he looked at me Professor Horace came and looked at me. Are you sure you're going to be able to do this? You sure you're going to be able to do this? Because somebody was around here and, didn't do that right. I was like, oh, I'm going to try. So he started speaking to the audience, which was the Catholic. We were at the Catholic University. He started talking to the audience. And the people that saw me like the first time, they saw the other guy translating and it was not really going well. They saw me, they were like, with their faces frowned and stuff. And I was like, are you going to be able to do this freely? Do you think you're going to do it? And I was like, I was looking at them and I was like, oh, they bashed and stuff. And they out of the blue, the professor started talking and I started interpreting. You should see the faces, man. Everyone was like, unveiling that frownness in the face. And I was like, is that really? I was interpreting, and then when
he can make it.
Yeah, he can make it. When people in the audience started started asking questions to Professor Horace Campbell. When I started speaking English with the people, man, I was like, they were looking at me and I was like, really? What's going on? Oh, he can definitely do it. And I did it. Yeah. So, definitely people, would rather have translation other than interpretation.
Yeah.
Why? Because the majority of things we talk about when interpreting, they need very profound knowledge of the subject itself.
Okay.
All right? So if you don't have that knowledge, you will be stammering. Okay? You will be stammering a lot and saying things that probably people didn't say. And you have the issue, for example, of noun phrases. Noun phrases are the most difficult part, that an interpreter can deal with. Because if you have very long noun phrases, the head is so small and the rest that is attached to the head is so big and people get lost. So, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Kanjo's question, he always writes lots of questions.
That's no
But
problem.
we're about to finish.
We're right here, man.
You've talked about your dad and how crucial he was for who you are today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think parents should force their kids to choose their future careers?
Not necessarily forcing. I wouldn't put it that way. I wouldn't say forcing, but I would say help them. Okay, help the kids reach out to what they like. My father saw me listening. My father saw me listen to songs in English.
Yeah.
He saw me very worried about, writing the lyrics and stuff. And I was writing it the way I understood them. And he kind of just gave me some kind of push. He pushed me into what I really wanted to do. And before I knew it, I kind of started, my way in the language, and it was fun. It was good. I love it. I like doing it. I like not only speaking English, but I like teaching it. And, it was my dad's pushing. It's definitely a very important and crucial. Actually, it is pivotal. It's not only crucial. I like to say it's pivotal. My father was pivotal for me to be the one I am today.
Okay.
For this reason.
Have you ever been to Cabinda?
I have taught, the base, and I'm teaching right now. I'm teaching in not in the base. I'm teaching online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've never been to Cabinda?
I have.
Oh, okay.
I have.
How long?
By the time I was at HRD.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. HID.
Yeah.
How long did you work for HID?
Oh, I worked for when I got down from university to when I did
It was in 2010.
2010. No,
Yeah.
2010.
I think it might be
2010. Yeah. My beloved friend, who I hope the Lord to have on His glory, Mario. Yeah, Mario Mota took me out there, and it was since 2010, and I worked there until 2016. Yeah, 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot has been said, and I'm happy to see that you are covering a lot of different subjects
Right.
Simultaneously. Should I say simultaneously or simultaneously?
Simultaneously, yeah, simultaneously.
Simultaneously for
yeah,
me,
yeah,
and
yeah.
simultaneously for you.
Simultaneously, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so here's what I would like to know, to hear from you, Roger. Have you ever been to Cabinda? You said yes. Have you ever had any conversation with those who choose for the separation and those who are in favor to stay?
I have a couple of friends that happen to be from Cabinda,
Okay,
and I have had a different approach,
okay,
from many of them.
mm-hmm.
And I believe the issue of separation is only related to the fact that I have my chicken and you get the gold. I mean, you take the golden eggs my golden chicken provides and you don't feed the chicken.
Okay.
What am I saying? I see my province ruined, out of shape, and at the same time I see the other places flourishing.
Yeah.
And mine is not flourishing. What about exercising the separation? So we ourselves can do something for it.
Okay.
So some of them said yes, they pro this idea, okay, of Cabinda exit, and I'm trying here to to use the type form Brexit, Cabinda
These are
exit.
last questions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is pretty much like that. Some of them defend that yes. The others are with me. No,
Okay.
we just need to entitle them into autonomy, like some kind of autonomy. We have to give them some kind of autonomy. Okay, like a federal state or something like that. They depend on the economy depends on them. Everything that is related to services depend on them. Okay, the central government only deals with issues that are generic.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, as an activist, do you think you would have the necessary support from the fellow activists or other individuals if anything bad, like jails, happened to you?
I'm a very cautious individual. Why? You don't have to defend, you don't have to be offensive to the people you're trying to show what your struggle is all about.
Yeah.
Because activism is about you telling people that, look, I think this way, and I believe if we do this way, we're going to get better results than the way things are being done.
Okay.
So if you approach people like that with, all the possible intelligence you have and respect and consideration, if you are considerate, you show people that you have patience over your country, and for a reason, on behalf of your talk, something can change. You don't need to challenge people. You don't need, because we know our background.
Yeah.
We're Africans. We need to respect the older. The elders are to be respected. And the elder came from our families. When you say bad people, like people that are involved into bribery, people that are involved into corruption schemes, people that are involved into what we call, crimes, state crimes, they're people that came from our families.
Yeah.
And our ideology in relation to how the families are being run, you have the figure of, let's say, you have one figure we call the chief of the family. How is the relation of the chief of the family, to the rest of the family?
Yeah.
Is he a leader? Is he a guy that takes advantage? Like we have a situation like a wedding or anything else in the family. He collects money from everyone else. He takes 50% for him, and 50% he solves the problem. Is that the kind of leader we have in the families? So this is the leader we gave the country. So what we need to do, we need to change the philosophy. We need to start comprehending now that it's not the fact of being elder, but in Kikongo, our language, we say, mwana fyoti kalendi kwani bula ngoma ambuta zantu akilini, which is, by the way, let me say that I like to say that I like Kikongo very much, which is to say that a little kid can play a drum and have all the elders dance as well. So there's no protocol for dancing, for drum, for, let's say, there's no protocol for music. So the same thing goes as if being afraid of getting retaliated because you were fighting over code. Don't think that these people are stupid. They're not. Provided that you're respectful, provided that you show, you don't need to offend people. You don't need to attack people. Attack ideas. Tackle with ideas. No, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with that. I think we should go that way. This way should be better like that. Yeah, and people will try to analyze how well you think, what is the quality of your thinking, and whether they, whether they have this predisposition to discuss your ideas and really implement what it is that is fine in your idea, what is good in your idea, and stuff like that. So I'm not afraid of retaliations. Okay, I believe that we were born, we grow up, we reproduce, and then somewhere along the line, we're gonna have to get the hell out of this, out of this planet or whatever, So,
okay.
Yeah.
The last question, but not the least, is how to deal with harassment. You as a teacher.
Oh,
You've
look.
been teaching for over 20 years.
Yeah.
How have you been dealing with harassment? Have you ever been harassed, or have you ever harassed a student?
I've never done that.
Okay.
I've never done that. I'm really against harassment.
Okay.
I'm against that. But I have letters. I have, principally in public school, because my other side, which is training, is very strict, and my students are I am very professional with them, and they're professional with me. And I respect them a lot. I treat them with respect, love, humility and stuff. But in the public school, because I teach the grade, 10th grade, 11th and 12th, I do have kids. Kids, they teenagers, and out of nothing, they come to you, they say, teacher, I love you, I like you a lot, you're a good teacher, because you care about people, you sometimes offer books, you worry about us, you talk to us. You not only teach us, because I'm teaching Portuguese and English now. So I don't only teach them, I talk to them. Mm-hmm. I try to really be a father to them, right? I don't agree this stuff of relationship between teachers and student. I don't agree with that. I don't, and I don't approve of. I get a lot of letters, but I call the students, come on, sit down. Look, I know it's okay, it's normal. It's okay to have your patience. It's okay to be stuck on somebody. Yeah. All right? It's not a crime, it's not a big deal. But my position, in relation to this is I am your teacher. I'm going to continue being your teacher. When you go up a little bit more, you're going to, I don't know, eventually if you become my friend, because I have a lot of friends who happened to be my students in the past. Today, they're my friends. Yeah. I myself have teachers that back then were my teacher. Today are my great friends. Okay? So I try to, you have to show them that you got some sensitivity, right? You got feelings.
Okay, it's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock in the evening, and go to the local time. And my guest lives in Seke.
Which is far away, huh?
It's a trip. You travel.
Yeah, it's a trip. Yeah,
I can see Caesar on the other side. Caesar, Yangon.
Oh, is he right there? Oh, I love this man. I love him a lot, man.
Alberto, Bernardo,
all right.
Betinho.
Okay, Betinho.
Yeah.
My brother.
Yeah. As a teacher of English, where do you find most difficulties to achieve the goals? Public, when you're teaching, when you want to work as when you are working in a public institution or private? This is Alberto's. Well, okay. My question was supposed to be the last one, but Alberto asked this question there.
Definitely, Dapher, Fernando. Definitely, the public school has a lot of struggles. Okay. First, I thought first I thought it was a benign neglect, by the student side. But then when I got into the system, stayed a long time in the system, I ultimately came to understand that it's not only about benign neglect by the student side. It is a multilateral problem. All right? It's a problem that needs to take multiple actions. The government needs to redefine, the understanding it has of the education itself. Because you see kids going to school hungry. How can you get somebody to pay attention to the lesson when this person is hungry? You got students that live far away, only for you to have this idea. That I got students that live in Paraíso. Imagine Kikolo Market and, they live in Paraíso. And they walk home. It's far away. And I teach in the evening. They got to deal with criminality. They got to deal with the rain. When it rains, you got mud all over. And, all these difficulties, they play a very crucial role in whether the student will succeed or not. You see? And bottom line is, if you look at my students, some of them are really good. They, getting better. And as I see it, they're getting better and they really participate in classes. But the majority, a vast majority of my students, you look at them and you say, did you understand? They look at you, didn't you understand? They look at you the same way. Yeah. And you clearly see that there's something wrong. When you talk to them, you understand the level of poverty is very high. You understand that if you tell them to buy a book, like you tell them to buy a book, let's say, those books we use for reading and stuff like that, you clearly see that they don't have money to buy books.
So they can't afford it.
And they can't afford the books. They can't afford even copies.
They can't make any.
They can't. And this is a very big challenge for teachers because all the blame's on us. The government says that teachers are not really very well qualified and stuff like that. Of course, this is true. Some of teachers are not qualified. Some of teachers go to school for reasons that are unknown to us. But overall, you have some good teachers who are putting up some good fight for the students to go forward. But it is insanely impossible to solve this problem when students have hunger problem, famish, when the students have problems related to money, acquisition, when students' families are so poor that they're not able to afford books, like technological devices, there's no way. And English, principally, they don't have how to, some of them don't even have what a lot of people think is a luxury, but it's not. Satellite dishes. In order to watch, I say, go home, you got to watch this and watch that. They don't have internet. So how are you going to get these students to really flourish, to develop, to get betterment as far as school is concerned, if they lack this basic, things to help them up?
Okay.
Yeah.
We hope everything is solved.
Right.
Maybe in 5 or 10 years. Well, we have come to the end of one more edition of Ask My Questions. As I said, I read out there someone saying that I was too quiet. Yes, I had to because Dialungana talks a lot.
Yeah, I do.
When my guest talks a lot, I feel happy and comfortable because I am not here to talk a lot. I'm here to ask questions, not to comment.
Fair enough.
The invitees are here to talk. They are the owners of the show, not me. Okay. Roger.
I'm here, man.
Tom Dillon, thank you so much for having accepted my invitation to come to answer my questions and answer my questions and some of the viewers' questions. We had people, something like 18, 20, 22, 24 people were viewing us from different places like Sekel, Wish, Wambo. I had I saw a comment from one of my Facebook friends from the US, no, from the UK.
UK.
Yes, and I saw some old friends, classmates, our old classmates that now have become our friends, like Julio, Alberto, and Cesar, and your old friend, Mr. Francisco.
Yeah,
Zach.
Zaj, yeah.
Okay, and some other people, our viewers like Mr. Candido, and some other people were out there. Okay, so thank you so much for being on the other side. We have to say goodbye because it's not I'm in my house, but my guest, he has to travel.
Yeah, it's a long way, huh?
Okay, so thank you so much for being here on the other side, and I hope to see you next Sunday. My guest for next Sunday will be Mr. Candido coming from Senegal. Will be coming from Senegal too.
All right.
Okay, see you.
Thank you very much for having me. Bye.